What I want for beer?
Right,
of course.
Yeah.
We're ready?
So you're gonna have, so Katie's gonna be queuing.
Yep.
Yeah, she's right there. She's got the cue cards for you guys.
But you need a beer.
Okay, we're gonna wait for the beer.
Where are you?
We're almost done here, so I'm ready to,
Crawl under the table. Say thank you very much for coming.
And after we're done, Deb has written a song.
A ballad?
A ballad. She and Tim are going to sing a ballad.
Yeah.
We have food in the brewery, and so we can all move in there if you want some food. And I encourage you to introduce yourself to the authors and talk about their amazing books.
Yes.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh my God, that's good.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Sam. Sam did a good job.
Yep.
That is really yummy.
The village tavern was always busy on the evenings and market days, particularly so close to the harvest festival. Ale and cider flowed and the crowd was boisterous, singing local songs, laughing at old jokes and exchanging comfortable insults. Eric, the village's unofficial lore master, held forth at the hearth, recounting the tale of Latan and the fairy lights, a perennial favorite. Normally, a warm tavern on a cool fall evening was one thing Agmar liked best about Finnick. But tonight, he wasn't in the mood. While he wasn't in the market when it happened, his mother Agatha told him that Minna girl tried to hex her. He couldn't believe it. The girl made him feel wrong, and his mother knew about such things. He gazed around the tavern disgusted. How could these people celebrate when such a menace was allowed to run free? The girl skulked around the village giving people queer looks, planting something evil she was, and she nearly done something evil to his mother. He wasn't sure what stopped her, but it didn't matter. His mother was at home now, refusing to come into town at night. It was time to do something about it. He hunched over his ale, brooding, when a snippet of conversation penetrated his gloom.
That girl didn't do anything to Agatha.
Agmar wasn't surprised to find it was Marie. She defended the witch before. To his chagrin, no one at her table contradicted her, and two of them were nodding their agreement.
What do you mean she didn't do nothing?
The discordant note in the genial atmosphere brought nearby conversations to a halt.
Okay. It's never you mind what I said, Agmar.
Blood rushing in his head, Agmar took an uncertain step forward. He was a big man for an Alios, taller by half a head than any other man in Finnick. And he had a towering temperament to match. As fiery as his unruly mane and crimson hair and bushy beard. He shoved his way past the people gathered around the bar and found himself standing in a clear space among the tables in the center of the room. Ignoring the others, he focused attention on Marie.
That's fine for you. It weren't your mom that was almost hexed by the witch.
Hush.
The room hushed. Suddenly, the center of attention, he glared around at the faces turned toward him. To his surprise, he found that though some nodded encouragement, there were more who frowned their disapproval. Agmar knew he wasn't the smartest man in Finnick, but having had more than his share of trouble, he understood how the wheels of village justice turned. The villagers lived uneasily with Minna's presence for years. The incident that morning merely brought the topic to a head, sparking heated debates throughout the day. No one was surprised at Agmar's accusations, and everyone recognized it for what it was. Though Minna would have no opportunity to defend herself, her fate hung in the balance, and her jury waited in silence for her accuser to make his case.
Now, you all know there's something wrong with that girl. When she comes around, it makes you feel all wrong.
A few more nods and hesitant frowns greeted this declaration.
You all heard the stories. I say the girl's a witch, and it's time we did something.
The silence that followed was as a hell of breath, full of shuffling feet and uneasy glances. If accusation made, someone would have to take up her case, or Minna's guilt was assumed. Agmar waited, glowering a challenge to anyone who would contradict him. After a long moment, Marie rose and turned to face him. Their jury greeted her with a collective exhalation. The farmer towered over the diminutive woman, but she put her hands on her hips and smirked up at him.
Agmar, you believe in the stories the bards tell now? I suppose next you'll have us taken to the mountains to hunt for fairy gold.
There was more than a hint of relief in the chuckles that greeted her jest, and Eric tipped his hat to her. Agmar stepped closer so he loomed over her, scowling.
Of course I don't believe in fairies. But you all heard the tale about witches. They look like normal people when they're little. It's only when they get older. That's when it starts. The first signs when they start making people unhappy and sick. It's a sign. It's a warning.
More people were nodding now, and someone at the bar said,
That's right.
Of course that is right. And Marie, once they get their power, that's when it's too late. They hex people and the killing starts.
He emphasized the last words, confident in the verdict. The tavern was silent, save for uncomfortable shuffling as attention shifted to Marie. Into the hush, Marie threw back her head and laughed.
Oh, Agmar. Now, you all know Thomas Hunter. There's not a kinder, more generous man in this village.
There were general nods of agreement at this. Minna's father was one of the most respected people in Finnick, since long before Minna was born.
That man dotes on his daughter. Do you think that Thomas would care so much for his little girl if she was a witch, even if she was his daughter?
Well, she hexed him, that's all.
Alright, but you said the hexing comes after the witches get their power when they're older. His pa didn't start loving that girl, so it couldn't be because she hexed him.
Did you see what she nearly done to my mom? She's got her power now.
I was there this morning, and I didn't see anything like what you're talking about. What I see is a little girl who gets treated awful by everyone here. I don't know what I would do if it were me, but I can tell you this. I wouldn't be the sweet, gentle person Minna is. If I were a witch, you know it. And if you looked at me funny,
She smiled at the laughter that grew laughter. She smiled at the laughter that greeted us and turned to a large man sitting at a table near the wall.
Gunther, your boy Jason, he's been friends with Minna for a long time. Has she ever done anything for you to think that there's something wrong with her?
Gunther started at being addressed, studied his mug for a moment, then lifted his gaze to the expectant faces watching him. Clearing his throat, he met Marie's eyes.
No, I haven't. She makes me feel a little funny, that's sure, but what Maria says is true. She ain't done nothing to deserve what she gets. My Jason, he's growing up right. He'll be a good man. He thinks the world of that girl, and that's enough for me.
But that girl's a witch. She's got...
That girl's no witch. She's a sawman.
The whispered conversations that started after Gunther's declaration died instantly. Agmar rolled around, searching for the source of the voice, finding Egan, Gunther's father, glowering back at him. I'm trying to turn the page. Before Agmar could assemble the scattered words of response, Marie asked,
A sock man? Egon, what are you talking about?
Egan took a swallow from his mug and wiped his mouth on the back of his hand, drawing out the tension and letting the few whispered conversations fade. He gazed around and said,
You young people don't know, but you go ask your elders. They remember. There was a time we'd be lucky to have that girl here.
Agmar couldn't make sense of what the old man was talking about. Most of the others seemed as uncertain as he was. Only the oldest were nodding grimly, whispering to one another, not sure how the argument got off track. He glanced at Marie and found her staring at Egan, her brow furrowed. When she noticed him looking, her eyes narrowed and she asked,
What are you talking about, Egan?
I ain't saying no more. You go ask your mom, Marie. She'll tell you.
Marie hesitated, nodded, and turned away. The whispering died down again as everyone turned their attention to her. Familiar with the ritual flow of justice, they could sense the crucial moment had arrived.
I don't know why she makes people feel the way she does, but as far as I can tell, she's done nothing to deserve whatever Agmar's considering. Go home, Agmar. You've had too much ale. Go home before you do something you'll regret.
Stony stairs.
Oh, Stony Stairs.
Agmar didn't understand everything that happened. All he knew was that he was being dismissed. Shaking with rage, he cast about for support but found only stony stairs. A few people shook their heads and turned away. The verdict rendered, there was a rush to gather around the eldest among them. A tentative song started and people joined in. Agmar turned on the spot but found no one would meet his eye. Growling his frustration, he stumbled to the door, threw it open, tripped on the threshold, and landed on his hands and knees in the cobbles.
They'll be sorry someday.
The door opened and a moment later, their legs and two people appeared beside him. Someone gripped his arms and lifted him to his feet. It was Jesper and Logan, friends who owned farms in Edward Williams. Agmar swayed on his feet and peered blearily at the two men.
There's some of us who are the same mind as you when it comes to that hunter girl. We think it's time we take matters into our own hands. Those others won't do it, and like you said, they're too late soon enough. The few have to act to protect the rest.
That's all I'm saying.
Come on, Agmar. Marie's right about one thing. You need to go home.
We'll get some boys together. No need to tell everyone. We'll meet next market day. Make some plans.
Yeah, we'll make some plans.
And